Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is very early Monday morning, the 25th of March, and we are talking about gold and silver prices potentially rising considerably towards the end of this coming week, particularly gold more so than silver. Now, this is a repeat of the video we published yesterday afternoon, which is our regular weekly update. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to that, then listen to this one, please, instead. So why do we think gold could rise this coming Friday? Let's take a look. First, just a quick reminder, we've set up a second channel entitled Finances Do Matter, covering a whole array of financial topics. We've placed a link in the description box and comment section below for those who've not yet joined that channel. The good news is the number of subscribers is rising quite substantially, so please don't miss out. Now, interestingly, looking at precious metals, gold rose $10 last week, rising from $2,156 to $2,166. Having been as high, though, as $2,223 and as low as $2,146, a rise of 0.5%. In our last update, we predicted that gold would trade between $2,100 and $2,175, which it did until Wednesday, moving into Thursday, where it rose even beyond our outlier range of $2,190, but fell back within our normal range. Gold spread between high and low was $83. In sterling terms, it finished the week up £25 at £1,720, and in euros it closed up €25 at €2,005. Silver, however, different kettle of fish. It fell 50 cents, falling from $25.20 to $24.70. Having hit a high of $26.31, albeit momentarily, and a low of $24.43, a fall of 2%. Now, last weekend we forecast silver would move between 24 and 26, with 23.75 to 26.50 as outliers. Our forecasts were correct, with silver very briefly moving into the outlier territory on Wednesday. The difference between silver's high and low was $1.88. In sterling terms, silver closed down 18 pence at £19.63, and in euros it was down 0.29 euros at 22.88 euros. Obviously, with silver going down and gold going up, the gold to silver ratio rose from 85.5 to 1 to 87.7 to 1. At the time of producing this, Bitcoin currently stands at $65,250. It's recovering a little today, but it's still down $4,630 on the week. Now, equities were higher, especially after the Fed announcement, which we shall discuss shortly. The Dow Jones closed at 39,475, up 761 points on the week. The S&P was up 117 at 5,234. And the Nasdaq was up 455 at 16,428. The FTSE 100 index closed at 7,930, and that's up 203 points, which is a lot for the FTSE, on the week. Now, oils were broadly unchanged. Brent crude up just 11 cents at 85.43, and WTI crude down 41 cents at $80.63. Remember, we would like to see oil prices early 70s and preferably 860s, unless of course you have investments in oil companies. The dollar index stands at 104.43. That's up 1 point on the week, and it's this rising dollar that is preventing to some extent our precious metals from rising dramatically. Now, last weekend we said investors and traders should closely monitor central bank decisions and global economic indicators in the coming week to gauge the direction of the gold market. We placed particular emphasis on Wednesday's FOMC meeting, not because they were going to alter rates, because we knew they wouldn't, but it should give us an indication of when rates are likely to fall. And Fed Chair Jerome Powell made it pretty clear that we can potentially expect up to 3 rate reductions in the United States this year. But these reductions are unlikely to begin until at least June, if not slightly later. This boosted the market nonetheless, and that is why we saw gold and equity prices rocket. However, when the euphoria died down a little and common sense came to mind, they moved back to reasonable levels. Now, this coming week, watch out for the consumer confidence figures due on Tuesday, but most importantly of all, the PCE inflation figures due on Friday. If they're good, we can expect markets to head higher once again. The market is expecting the Feb PCE figure to read 0.4%, marginally up from 0.3% in January, resulting in the year-over-year figure to blip up ever so slightly from 2.4% to 2.5%. And the core PCE, which is where they place more attention, for February to fall to 0.3% from 0.4% in January, resulting though in the year-to-year figure still to remain broadly constant at 2.8%. They're then hoping, of course, that inflation will then continue to fall. Now, if these figures are met, or better still, are lower than the market is expecting, then we can certainly see precious metals and equity prices rise further. If, however, these figures are more adverse, then there will undoubtedly be a short-term correction. That is how important these figures on Friday are. Now, we also have to be mindful that the US dollar is continuing to strengthen on the back of good economic data, compared at least with other countries. And if this continues to happen, then gold and silver prices will be subdued longer than necessary, and may even consolidate a little short term. The medium-term forecast, in our view, nevertheless, is still incredibly positive, particularly for gold. So technical traders are looking to see that if gold falls below $2,146, this will be short-term bearish, but if it can break the 2,186 figure to the upside, it will prove bullish, moving quite quickly to $2,298. That's a $100 rise. We don't think that's going to quite happen next week, but that's what they're predicting could happen, and eventually to 2,320. Silver has technically diverged from gold, and currently technical traders are forecasting some bearish momentum, especially if the US dollar holds firm. There's no doubt part of this divergence is the fact that recent central bank buying of gold is strongly supporting the gold price. Silver's not enjoyed similar demand, primarily depending on smaller speculators. So silver has a support level, a strong one, at around $23.85 and resistance at $25.75, and then $26 above that. Even though momentarily it breached that last week, that $26 level is quite resistive. So what is our forecast for this coming week? Well, we envisage gold will trade between 2,130 and 2,225. 2,100 and 2,250 as outliers. Silver has wider scope in either direction, so we predict silver will trade normally between 23.75 and 25.75, with 23.25 to 26 as outliers. We still think this $26 level will act as very strong resistance. What do you think? Please do share your thoughts. Meanwhile, thank you for listening. We'd appreciate it if you would give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, press the bell sign, pop on over to Finances Do Matter, and have, as always, a safe, enjoyable weekend, though there's not much left of it by the time you see this video. But as always, a prosperous week ahead, and watch out, PCE figures on Friday.